Hello, motorsports fans. My name is Tom Baldrick, and during the next hour, I'll guide you through the exciting world of U.S. Hot Rod Association competition. Our focus on this show is monster trucks and modified tractors. The Oakland Coliseum is the site of our monster truck battle. There you'll get to see if defending world champion Jackie Willman can continue his winning ways behind the wheel of cars. Our U.S. Hot Rod Association pullers fire up their engines in New Orleans, Louisiana, and shake the Superdome. But that's not all. We'll also tell you the amazing story of Robosaurus, the massive car-eating machine that is even starred in a movie. That's monsters, tractors, Robosaurus, and a whole lot more coming up on Super Trax. In the sport of pulling, when they say modified tractor, they mean modified. You'll never see anything like them hauling hay down some country lane. They're designed to pull 30,000 pounds down a specially built track. They've got as many as 5 engines. Some of them even have jet engines. The U.S. Hot Rod Association has assembled the best pullers in the Superdome in New Orleans. Guys like John Heilman, Steve Jaske, Robert Elliott, and the legendary Art Arfons are there. My favorite, Art's daughter, Dusty Arfons, is there, too. She's a pretty good puller in her own right. So, let's get out of the Crescent City and hear from the voice of Super Trax, Scott Douglas.
A collection of the most powerful vehicles in all of motorsports have assembled in the Superdome to try and grab a U.S. Hot Rod Association victory in the 7,200-pound multi-engine modified tractor pulling competition. And right off the bat, we're going to show you one of the best, Ohio Gold. Here's John Heilman out of Roxford, Ohio. Looks like it's going to be good enough for a full pull in New Orleans. The track is measured right at 210 feet for a full pull, and Heilman eased past it in Ohio Gold. Let's watch him on the replay. 5 Rodeck engines. This is the highest engine combination you'll see today. 5 of them mounted on the front of that Engler chassis, and John Heilman whips it out of here in the Superdome. Nice, smooth, good-looking run for Ohio Gold, the veteran out of Roxford, Ohio. We're going to get an isolated look at Heilman right here, and you can see very calm, very cool and collected. Right hand on the steering wheel, left hand is just pushing down on that throttle to try and get every inch of horsepower out of those 5 big Rodeck engines, and he sure got it right there. John Heilman and Ohio Gold starts this off with a full pull today on Super Trax. Now the question is, will any of our other competitors be able to match that full pull and force Heilman to come back later in a pull-off? The first to try is Dwayne Bergman. Now, this is the Rambunctious 2 out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. And as he pulls, listen to the difference in sound from Heilman to this puller. Allison Aircraft engines supply the power here. But on this pull, they don't supply quite enough, as he's short of that full pull mark by what looks like a good 30 feet. The V12 Allison Aircraft engine, twin fuel-injected Allison Aircraft engine, and Dwayne Bergman. Here you'll see on the replay, he also did not have a real smooth run, as any time you start doing the zigzag number like Dwayne is, it's going to cost you some distance. And he has to keep banging that front end down to straighten her out. That cost him several feet on the pull. We'll look at it again from the side this time. And I don't know if you'll see as pronounced of a zigzagging effect, but certainly every time you see the wheels come down, that costs you distance. You don't want to keep banging it to the ground. And that's what happened to Rambunctious number 2. At least for the moment, he'll go into second place. Dwayne Bergman out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. And Rambunctious 2, his pull at 173 feet, 2.5 inches, well short of that full pull mark. But for the moment, it's good enough for second place. Well, here's the Texas Flash out of Cat Springs, Texas. We get a look now at Don Nelson. 3-engine combination on the Texas Flash. He's got to get a full pull to force Heilman into a pull-off. Well, he's nowhere near the full pull mark, but he comes in right at about the same spot that Bergman did a moment ago. So at least in the battle for second place, it's going to be interesting to see exactly where they measure this distance. On the replay, again, a little bit of drift right off the starting line, but other than that, the run is fairly straight, but there's just never a whole lot of wheel speed, a whole lot of momentum generated for Don Nelson and the Texas Flash. We'll take another look at it on our side angle replay. Don Nelson and the Texas Flash taking off. As you can see, all the flash bulbs popping from the crowd in the Superdome as they get some pictures to take home. And Don Nelson gets a run that comes in at just enough to edge out rambunctious number 2 for second place. The difference between those two pulls, 1.5 inches. 173 feet, 4 inches. The Texas Flash is now in second place. Well, here's another powerhouse out of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. This is Steve Jaske and the Miller Highlight 4-engine combination on this one. He's got to try and get it out of here to force Heilman into a pull-off. 2/10 is the full pull distance. By George, I think he's got it. The Miller Highlight able to get just enough to get past the 210-foot mark and come up with a full pull in the Superdome. So we know we're going to have a pull-off because the Miller Highlight has made it. Now, we saw with John Heilman a 5-row deck combination. Here you've got 4 Arias engines supplying the power to the Miller Highlight. And look how close he comes to going out of bounds. If he would have gone completely across with the sled on that white out-of-bounds line, he'd have been out of there. And he had to let off of it. Luckily for Miller Highlight, when he did get on that out-of-bounds line, he had already crossed the full pull mark, and he was able to shut the engine down with a full pull. Otherwise, he'd have had to come up short. Nonetheless, he kicks up some chalk dust, but gets it past that orange cone right there. That signifies a full pull, and we've got ourselves a pull-off. We know the Ohio Gold and the Miller Highlight will both be there. Well, what about Dusty Arfon? She's putting on a show right now as the turbine-powered Dragon Lady is blazing a trail here in New Orleans. Dusty Arfon's out of Akron, Ohio, the daughter of the legend, Art Arfon, who we'll see a little later. Dusty trying to get a full pull. But not quite enough as those twin Lycoming T55 turbines leave the Dragon Lady and Dusty Arfon just a little bit short of the full pull mark. I can tell you for the moment at least, she certainly goes into third place with a good strong run here in the Superdome. Let's watch it on the replay. Pretty solid run, a little drift to the left, but other than that, no real problems for Dusty. Just not quite enough horsepower out of those turbines to get it out of here. We'll switch angles now and take a look at Dusty Arfon and the Dragon Lady on the replay. She fires them up for show, but when it comes pulling time, you can see no fire here. She's getting all the power she can to the wheels. Good wheel speed coming out of there, just not quite enough to get it past that 210-foot mark. The pull for Dusty Arfon is going to come in at 189 feet, 4.5 inches.